Hello everyone, Leo Chase from Mythmaster here, and today I will be revealing to you how I and my brother would rank every single MCU project, from Iron Man to Marvel Zombies. Well, not really every, and I'll go over the exceptions now. We are not ranking anything canon to the MCU multiverse that wasn't released by the MCU in a way, such as Netflix's Daredevil show or the Fox X-Men movies, as we do not know how canon they are, if you get my meaning. We're also not ranking any shorts such as Marvel's various one-shots and I Am Groot. And lastly, we are not including the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special or the All Werewolf by Night, as they are holiday specials and in a way, too unique to be ranked. While I have seen all of the projects that are being ranked, my brother, who we'll call Seth, has not, and as the projects will be displayed in order of the average ranking, and there are 53 projects in the list, I've simply added 26 to my ranking to place those shows, which definitely isn't perfect, but I'll make it clear when we are ranking a show or movie that Seth has not seen. And if you're interested, here are the 8 projects that he has not seen. I'll use the last place project as an example of how this is going to go. As you can see, it is For the Dark World. The number at the top displays the overall ranking, and we are going in order from worst to best. On each side you can see where we individually ranked the movie. My numbers range from 1 to 53, while Seth's only ranged from 1 to 45. I hope you enjoy and comment down your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and just to say, I will be going into details on basically all of the projects, so if you don't want spoilers then, well, you have been warned. As covered, For the Dark World is last and is the only project to be in both of our bottom 5s. Captain Marvel just misses out on that privilege, but still ends up second last. Talos is the only thing that saves it for me. Seth's lowest ranked movie is Eternals, and while I've also placed it fairly low due to it generally lacking substance in my opinion, it does admittedly have some really cool characters and action sequences. I doubt any of the characters will show up in Doomsday or even Secret Wars, and I'm sorry to say it, but Gemma Chan did not have a good run in the MCU. Iron Man 3 comes next, following on from For the Dark World as a Phase 2 sequel, though the other two of those rank much higher. I don't really have much else to say about it. And rounding out the bottom 5, we come to another Thor movie, with Thor Love and Thunder, which didn't have as many bad aspects as the movies below it in the ranking, but didn't exactly have that many good parts. The Marvels comes in next, despite having one of my favourite moments in the MCU, and it actually made me have a small panic attack of excitement while watching it, and that was when I saw Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel meet. And also it was great seeing Beast in the post-credit scene, as she looked awesome, but neither of those two great scenes actually matter much for the main movie, which was overall quite bland like its predecessor. Our first Phase 1 movie comes in joint with the Marvels, and that is the Incredible Hulk movie, whose many teasers were finally paid off, to some extent, in Brave New World, though how well they were done is up to debate. Our first series is also our first project that Seth hasn't watched, and it is in the lowest possible position that it could be, as I have it dead last, and as you can see, it is Echo. Despite having one of my favourite Marvel characters, in Kingpin, and coming off the back of Hawkeye, which, well, you'll see, is quite high up, Echo is just not good, and you don't really have any reason to root for the main character at all. For much of the same reasons as Echo, Secret Invasion is next, and is my second lowest ranked show, because at least Secret Invasion has Olivia Colman in, and she was amazing in it. One of the reasons this is so low is that Marvel is doing their best to ignore it, and has basically pretended it doesn't exist, even in their other projects. Iron Man 2 was up next, and I don't have much to say about this either, which basically sums it up. At least we got Don Cheadle's Rhodey and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, plus Iron Man in a donut. She-Hulk is the lowest ranked show that both Seth and I have seen. I didn't actually mind the last episode, and it was great to see Daredevil, but there's nothing else that comes to mind to praise the show for. Quantumania has one of my favourite Marvel trailers with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John, but the actual movie was not that good. Kang had been set up fantastically, and he was a great villain for most of the film, but even if there hadn't been behind the scenes problems, he was still beaten by Ant-Man and some ants. And Marvel didn't even kill any of the characters, or leave them stranded in the quantum realm, which I think they probably should have done, and because they didn't, the movie is basically inconsequential. Ironheart is the next unwatched project, and is one I kind of had hopes for given that she was okay in Wakanda Forever, but like with Echo, Ironheart, or Riri Williams, was an unlikable protagonist who didn't really grow at all. Her negative arc could have been interesting, but it just wasn't, because she started selfish and ended selfish, but at least we got an okay Mephisto, and were introduced to Velma Stanton. Spot number 40 is held by Falcon and Winter Soldier. Going into the show, I wasn't the biggest fan of Sam or Bucky, but didn't dislike them either, and that didn't change. The best part of the show was by far Baron Zemo, who felt like a good continuation of his character, while also being a bit more like his comic book self. Plus we saw Valentina and John Walker for the first time. Joint with that show is Eyes of Wakanda, which is another thing Seth did not watch, and which was a bit of a nothing burger for me, though the Troy episode was good. What If is next. It had some great episodes and some not great ones, but it drifted too far away from the original concept in a way, and became wacky adventures rather than alternate takes on the main universe. 4 is next, and honestly I haven't seen it in ages. All I know is that the comedy is quite good, and it gave us Loki, so I can't complain. Solid movie. Doctor Strange was in 28 out of 53 for me, and 37 out of 45 for Seth, and kind of starts the trend of me having magic-based projects, based higher than he does. This movie gave us the Cloak of Levitation, Wong, and Dormammu I've come to bargain, as well as bringing the talents of Benedict Cumberbatch, Tilda Swinton, and Rachel McAdams into the MCU. Miss Marvel is 35th, and while I don't know if I'd watch it all through again, I did enjoy it when I first watched it. While it did change her powers from the comics and not everything landed correctly, Iman Vellani was perfect in the role, and I can't wait to see her again, wherever that may be. Wakanda Forever is next, and while it had its low points, Queen Ramonda had some great moments, as did Namor and Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. The opening scene was done very well, and the movie was a great tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is an interesting case, and does things with characters that have never been done before, such as making Lonnie a high school friend of Peter's, and making Peter's origin a time loop involving Doctor Strange. But it was a good show, and I'm looking forward to the inevitable Season 2. Brave New World was honestly a bit underwhelming. They showed too much in the trailers. The Serpent Society, the talents of Giancarlo Esposito were wasted, and the leader was just okay. Plus, it's a shame we didn't see Patriot at all, but Red Hawk did honestly look amazing, and some of the aerial scenes were great. Next up is Moon Knight, and this may be the show I most want a sequel for. Oscar Isaac has invaded nearly every major franchise, and I'm all for it. It never once feels like Mark and Steven are the same person, and the action and costumes are great. My favourite episode of What If was the Zombies one, and with this show being a continuation of that, as well as having Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, Hayley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, and Baron Zemo, though not Daniel Bruhl, all in the same project, and interacting in some cases, it made it into my top 30. Black Panther is next, and it's a quite good film in my opinion, and not just because it has both Gollum and Bilbo in it. It perfectly introduced us to Wakanda, and the Wakandans, without whom Infinity War and Endgame would be extremely different. T'Challa, Shuri, Okoye, and Queen Ramonda are all great, and all work together really well. Black Widow is a mixed bag for me. It was long needed, but I don't think it was exactly late. While the movie's Taskmaster is one of the worst adaptations of a comic book character, the subtle and at times not so subtle copying of other MCU characters was great. Plus, we got Yelena Belova and Red Guardian. Shang-Chi is next and falls in a similar vein as the previous movies to me. The movie looks stunning and the fight choreography is amazing. It maybe should have been called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets though. Now for one of the largest deviations, if not the largest. I loved Agatha all along, and I genuinely cannot think of anything bad to say about it at the moment of writing this. Kathryn Hahn gives one of the best performances I have ever seen, and Episode 7, Death's Hand in Mine, is maybe my favourite from any MCU show. Plus, the music is great. Multiverse of Madness is 1 point higher, as while I placed it 1 lower than Agatha, Seth placed it 2 higher. While the story isn't perfect, and Doctor Strange takes a backseat in his own movie, Elizabeth Olsen gives it her all, and becomes one of the MCU's scariest villains. Plus, Patrick Stewart's Professor X is astonishing as ever. I can't wait to see him and Ian McKellen return. Daredevil Born Again takes the 24th spot. I don't think it was as good as the 3rd season of the original show, but it was still very good. Like the previously mentioned Patrick Stewart, Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are perfect in these roles. The show has its issues and feels disjointed at times, but I can't wait to see Daredevil's army assemble to stop Fisk's reign. Ant-Man is just fun, pure and simple. Along with the Guardians of the Galaxy, it has one of the most underrated themes, and by that I mean musical themes. Darren Cross isn't the best villain though. Now for the one that started it all, Iron Man. It has a great villain, great side characters, and a protagonist with a well-defined character arc, and it probably has the most iconic ending of any superhero movie. Just missing out on the top 20 is The Loki Show. The first season is probably better, but the timey-wimey nature of the second is also great. Tom Hiddleston is as great as ever, and picks up the character straight from where he left off in The Avengers. Despite its multiversal significance, it feels standalone, and I mean that in a good way. There are 3 trilogies whose movies all make it into the top 20, and we get the first movie from them in Spider-Man Homecoming. It was a bit lower down for me than it was for Seth, but I think it deserves a spot. While at some points I would like to see a classic Vulture in live action, the MCU design is terrifying at times, and Michael Keaton plays this version of Adrian Toomes perfectly. That casting is just great. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like Homecoming, it's the weakest of its trilogy for us, but it still made it into the top 20. Adam Warlock is great, as is the High Evolutionary. Most of the Guardians feel underused, with only Peter and Rocket having significant roles from what I remember, but Rocket's backstory is heartbreaking. Now for the highest ranked project that Seth hasn't seen, Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not as good as the other 2 movies, in my opinion, and by that I mean the other 2 Deadpool movies, and lacks the emotion that they have, but they aren't on the list. Cassandra Nova is mostly great, and the Bye 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 and Like a Prayer scenes are awesome. WandaVision was the first MCU show and ended up being the 2nd highest on this list. It was top 10 for me and around the middle for Seth. Lots of the best MCU shows involve a mystery of some sort, and this is no different. Wanda and Vision are probably my favourite pairing of characters in the MCU, with maybe one exception, and the show really allows them to shine. With Far From Home, I don't know why I put it as I did, but also I think it deserves to be where it is. There's nothing in it that particularly makes it great for me. It is just a good movie through and through, and this is one where Seth's ranking is why it is where it is. And the same goes with Captain America, the first Avenger, which just missed out on Seth's top 10, and which I had at 24. I just don't have much love for Captain America, but I don't dislike him. Well, I'm pretty sure he's one of Seth's favourite characters. Fantastic Four is 14, and I think I can confidently say that this is their best live-action movie so far, though I think the 2000s cast are probably the best set of actors for the characters. I do think that the F4 really felt like a family in this movie, and Galactus was awesome to see. Next up is a movie that I'm surprised Seth has higher than I do, and that is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is by far my favourite Ant-Man movie. It probably has the best humour of anything on this list, and Ghost is one of my favourite MCU characters, and I think she's one of the most underrated characters in the MCU, I can't wait to see her in Doomsday. Ragnarok is a movie which I think manages to hit the mark in nearly every aspect. It has one of the MCU's best villains in Kate Blanchett's Hela, and it manages to combine humour and action perfectly, as well as having a great mix of old and new characters. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie falls in the 11th spot and is Seth's favourite from the trilogy. I personally think that the best part of the first movie is its soundtrack, and this is one of the better movies at combining humour and emotion. Kicking off the top 10 is The Winter Soldier, which is probably one of the most rewatchable MCU movies. It's a spy thriller and a superhero movie packed into one, and has some of the best fight choreography in all of the MCU. It's also the lowest movie in the top 5, being 5th for Seth. Civil War is next, and while it has the obvious draw of the airport fight, it manages to introduce Spider-Man and Black Panther, while still prioritising Steve and Tony, and also giving moments to characters such as Natasha, Wanda, Clint, and Vision. In 8th spot is Thunderbolts, and as you can see, I love it. It is one of the few MCU projects that makes me tear up, and all of the actors play their characters so realistically. This bringing together of new characters is also what the last few phases have been missing, and I'm sad that it didn't do that well at the box office. Next up is our lowest ranked Avengers movie in The Avengers. While looking back, the movie may not be amazing, it's by no means bad. I think that the standouts are probably Loki and Black Widow, but the main reason this is as high as it is, at least for me, is the Battle of New York, which may be my favourite final fight ever. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is, I believe, the only movie that we ranked in the same place. While it does hold nostalgia for me being my second ever MCU movie, I still think it deserves a spot even without that. All of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies have some fantastic emotional beats, but I think that this one has the best. Karen Gillan's Nebula performance is outstanding, and the needle drop of the chain in the final fight is probably my favourite needle drop in any movie. In the 5th spot, and tied in terms of score with 4th spot, is Infinity War, which is my personal least favourite Avengers movie, but Seth's second favourite MCU movie overall. It did still make it into my top 10 though. The fights are admittedly incredible, and the ending is maybe one of the biggest movie moments, but it will come to no surprise to you that I think everything with Wanda and Vision was done fantastically, and their final moments always bring a tear to my eye. It was a shame there was no Hawkeye though. Next up is my second favourite MCU project, and also the first one I ever watched, Age of Ultron. There's just something about it being a world-ending threat instead of a Universal City level one, which makes it feel uniquely Avengers. Additionally, Hawkeye and Wanda really shine in this, and their friendship is one of my favourites in the entire MCU. Even if he isn't the most comic accurate, I do really like MCU Ultron, and I'm looking forward to his apparent return. In third place is No Way Home, which manages to utilise the multiverse and have returning actors, while also having a fairly good plot, with emotional moments and incredible fight scenes. While it's a shame we only got 5 villains involved, it is still a spiritual Sinister Six, and it was great to see Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus return, or at least versions of them. In joint first, though kind of second place, is Hawkeye, my favourite MCU project. Not only is it a Christmas show starring my favourite Marvel character, with one of my favourite Marvel villains, but also it introduces my favourite post-Endgame character in Kate Bishop, and has Yelena Belova, my second favourite post-Endgame character. The writing and acting is just incredible, as are some of the action sequences, like the car chase that feels ripped out of a comic book, and basically is. And Yelena's fight with Hawkeye at the end is one of the most emotional MCU moments for me. A core part of the show is the loss of Natasha, which brings me nicely onto my next point. To probably no one's surprise, Endgame is our highest ranked MCU project, being Seth's favourite and my fourth favourite. Black Widow's death is the saddest scene I've ever watched, and it's great to see Cap's happy ending with Peggy. Plus, the final battle and Tony's sacrifice are legendary. One of the most underrated moments for me, though, is Hawkeye and Wanda's scene by the lake at the end, which just warms my heart whenever I see it. I strongly doubt Doomsday or Secret Wars will manage to top the juggernaut that is this movie. So that is how my brother and I would rank every MCU project from Iron Man up to Marvel Zombies. What are your thoughts and what would you have put in first and last? This video has probably been fairly lengthy, so if you stuck around this long, thank you, and please consider liking, subscribing, and or hyping this video. Have a good day and ta-ta.